Hey rockers, welcome back again to Bloody FMS Official for yet another rock and roll tale. This one is one of those personal stories about my musical career, and people have asked about this stuff, and I figure why not? Since I am continuing my This is a Book video series, this is my book on video, each video being a short chapter of a book, if I were to have one. Tonight we're going to go back to 1995 and pay homage to a record that I was part of back in 1995 called Bloody and the Country Trash Punks. Cover art by the infamous and legendary Nick Bougas. I believe he's down in Georgia these days. Thank you, Nick, if you're watching, for this awesome artwork that you did for this record that came out on Baloney Shrapnel Records in 1995. The story kind of starts back in the summer of 1987 when for the very first time I sort of retired from punk rock. Yeah, I literally was in a few bands from about 83 until about the middle of 87 in the summer, and I moved to Greeley, Colorado, proclaiming that I was, quote, retiring from punk rock. And when I went to Greeley, by the way, I did release a cassette tape that's kind of rare. Not many were made, called The Worst of Bloody Mess, from 1983 to 87, and it's got a lot of strange stuff from like Chips Patrol, Unaccepted, Hate, and then a bunch of stuff I did in this like karaoke machine doing like covers of White Christmas and Puff the Magic Dragon and stuff like that, and Your Cheatin' Heart by Hank Williams. Anyway, so I retired from punk, right? I moved to Greeley, Colorado. Years later, actually not years later, about sometime in 88, I'm living back in Peoria. I start Bloody Mess and the Skabs with some other guys. It was 8 years of complete and utter debauchery, chaos, and, well, substance abuse. But hey, man, we rocked, we rolled, we shocked, we rocked, and I survived to tell it. So in the summer of 1994, Bloody Mess and the Skabs broke up. Yep, on the infamous and super filthy and weird and disgustingly cool and fun, but also horrific and, breathtakingly insane, hungover and stoned East Coast tour, where the Skabs played places like Philadelphia, New York City, Wilmington, Delaware. It was a pretty crazy experience and pretty fun, but man, we partied a little too hard, and after 8 years, the band was coming to a massive and quick end. Well, when the band ended, it was kind of on crazy terms, and that'll be on my Patreon video when I start that Patreon account I keep talking about. But what happened was, once the Skabs broke up, I decided I was done, man, because I was living life in way too fast of a lane. And when we broke up in Wilmington, Delaware, which I've discussed before, and that's another story from my Patreon account, maybe, I might put that on this channel, I decided I was going to just be done, man, because for me, I'm a do-or-die kind of guy, and like all or nothing kind of fellow, but I try not to be that way now. But back then, I was like, okay, I'm done with this because I can't trust myself. This is my subconscious talking. I can't trust myself to like be a good boy, or at least try to be a halfway decent guy and still do music. So I thought, what is my second passion next to punk rock? That would be outlaw country. So I thought, hey man, why don't I do an outlaw country record? When, to tell you the truth, about a year after this, I actually started a real country band that played gigs, and we actually did about 75 or 80 gigs, and it was a band called the Renegades, where we would have band practices based around learning 3-part harmony vocals and things like that. So I actually learned how to sing later. But when we did the Country Trash Punks, when I decided to retire from punk rock the second time, I really didn't know how to sing country, and that's why the drummer on this record went on to say later, John Eason, rest in peace, by the way, drummer John Eason, take a moment to reflect and remember Brother John right here. He said this record was so bad that it was good. And, I guess he probably meant the vocals kind of sucked, but I know plenty of people that might beg to differ on that. I'm not going to put my opinion in on this one. It's just something I'm part of vocally. But here's what happened. I decided to quit the Skabs, which I did in Wilmington, Delaware. Said, take me home right in the middle of a set. So we got in the van and drove the 17 hours home, and I was done with the Skabs. Done with punk rock, I thought. But for now I was, right? So I called the press and told them, because I was in the paper a lot from about 85 to about 1995, when this paper came out in the Peoria Journal-Star in Peoria, Illinois. The columnist was named, gosh, my eyes suck. Lori Timms. Yeah, Lori Timms. There she is. There's Lori. Yep, Lori Timm. Timm. Pardon me. It's singular, not plural. But Lori Timm did a little article on me. As you can see, it's called Bloody Revolts Against Punk. I wasn't revolting against punk. The media likes to shape things and give things titles that sound flashy and media-like. But the truth was, I was just letting her know, because they had asked me what I'd been up to. I said, I'm not doing punk rock anymore. And they're like, why not? You've been this bad boy in the papers, blah, blah, blah. What's going on? I go, I'm doing country, man. But not just like pop new country crap. I'm talking old country style. We did a lot of covers, the Renegades and I, later. But in this band here, Bloody and the Country Trash Punks, or this record, it was all originals except one. And I got to tell you, I want to read this little article to you. So when I talked to Lori Timm about the fact that I was doing outlaw country, this record had not come out yet. As a matter of fact, Baloney Shrapnel Records had not released this bad boy, which also came out in a white cover and this blue cover. They didn't release this until sometime in 95. The article that came out on April 13th, 1995, right before this record did, says, amid the recent hullabaloo surrounding punk rock in Peoria, Bloody just sighs. The former frontman for Bloody Mess and the Skabs has renounced that form of music, but not its attitude. Quote, punk now is so commercial and accepted. The whole thing of punk rock was meant to be a revolt against commercialism, he said. And that avenue now is country music, he says. So the Skabs are out, Bloody and the Country Trash Punks are in, at least for a recent 4-song album that will be in local record stores next week. Okay, I digress. This came out a week after the record came out, and that's why I was probably doing interviews in the press at the time promoting the record. That self-titled album is a one-time collaboration among Peoria musicians from the Pink Flamingos, Tomfoolery, King Orange, and River City Junction. Boy, those are all great bands. Bloody says he's putting together a different, still untitled lineup that he hopes will perform at local bars and outdoor festivals soon. Yep, the Renegades came next, and that band was really awesome. We were doing 4 sets of music a night, 2 or 3 nights a week for a while. Influenced by outlaw country legends like Waylon Jennings, David Allan Coe, and so on. It isn't so far removed from punk because it's free of rules and encourages freedom on stage, he said. And the lyrics are really the same type of imagery. It has the same basic attitudes as punk, an independent, do-it-yourself kind of thing. Bloody, who insists on using his stage name and wearing sunglasses, I'm not wearing them right now though, or am I? Hinted at the transition with the Skabs' twangy song, Hungover and Stoned. Yep, I did hint at the fact that I was going to go that direction later. Good one, Lori Timm. But the band, formed in 1983, which that's not true, the Skabs started in 1987-88, was decidedly punk. And then it has some other stuff, I'm not going to read it really. I don't, but it does say, I'm pretty much banned from every hall in this town, Bloody says. He claims he's still the perennial outsider, still a rebel, just with a new sound. Quote, I'm not jumping on I'm not jumping on the country music bandwagon. Music is physical to me, and there is bound to be physical things with the new band. Adrenaline, energy, chaos, that's what keeps it exciting. Anyway, thank you, Lori Timm, for that. So what happened was this record came out on Baloney Shrapnel Records, and I decided to gather some of the best musicians I could find, as you heard in that article. We had on the musical piece of vinyl, Mike Garrett was one of the main cats that played the guitar, the rhythm guitar, and did vocals on this record, and he wrote a bit of lyrics as well. And Mike Garrett was, of course, in the band The Pink Flamingos, Tomfoolery. He continues to this day to be one of the most prolific musicians I know, constantly releasing new music on his, I think it's Dreamscaper 007 YouTube channel. If not, you can type in Mike Garrett and hear Imaginary Lover. slash Miss You, which is completely awesome, and you can find his channel. He also has produced the good majority of the music videos that I've released, and I plan on doing more video work with the talented and awesome Mike Garrett. Also on this record, the great Kevin Beverage, a.k.a. Kevin Hein, played bass, and he was also in a lot of bands like Tomfoolery. I think he was with Rockin' Billy and the Rhythm Riot. Yes, he was. And he was also in that little band Bloody Mess and the Skabs for quite a while, and he played on the Hungover and Stoned album on bass. John Eason, rest in peace, was on the drums and Cheap Brushes. Yeah, Kim Rippy was from the band King Orange and other bands, and she was an awesome person, killer keyboard player and piano player on this record. And we have the amazing C. Michael French, a Central Illinois legend from River City Junction, and he's related to Mark French, who was in the original Dave Chaston Band and on the original Dave Chaston Band album. I do know my history. And also, C. Michael French played the pedal steel guitar on this record on the song called C and Double, and he played lead guitar, and it's just smoking. Yeah, that's my favorite song on this record. If you type it in YouTube, Bloody and the Country Trash Punks, C and Double. Also on this record, the one and only Sister Tracy. Right here in this photo, there's Tracy back in 1995. She actually co-wrote one of the songs on this record. She also did lead vocals with me on the song, and that song is called Crying Over You. So this is a picture of the band: Kevin Beverage, C. Michael French, John Eason, Sister Tracy, Mike Garrett, Kim Rippy, and myself. Well, going from beginning to end, my friends, Seeing Double is a super autobiographical song about being drunk, getting drunk a lot, and about going out with some particular people and then waking up in the morning and, well, finding your stuff gone, like your biker rings and things. So some of the lyrics on here are very autobiographical, about spending a drunken weekend with my brother, who also, I must say, rest in peace to, Dean Dirt from 1096. Yeah, I've been seeing double for so long now. Closing one eye just to drive my car. Spending all my money on a good time. Passing out before it's time to go. But yeah, man, I'd like to read some of these lyrics, but I'm afraid I can't see them. It's too damn small. It says, everyone is a friend until the morning, when I wake up and find myself ripped off. Where are all my things, and where's my biker rings, and will somebody please turn the light out? It's just about being ripped off. It's a true experience. Me and Dean went home with these girls one time back in the days when I was single, and this was like, gosh, 1991, and we had a good time. But we woke up and these girls had apparently didn't pass out when we did, and we woke up and all our jewelry was gone. Dean's wallet was gone. All my biker rings. I was pissed off. Well, this is the first video I've done without my rings. I just realized that. Weird. Anyway, so Seeing Double, first song. Second song, Broken Promises, another autobiographical song about, well, being not a nice boy, a bad boy. The third one, it was called Crying Over You, which Sister Tracy wrote, which is probably about me. Again, autobiographical from her point of view, and about me being not a nice boy, a bad boy. Yeah, I clarify. The fourth song on this record was a cover. It was a cover that I found on a very interesting album by none other than the legendary Willie Nelson and David Allan Coe. I was like, I've never seen this record before, so I picked it up. Turns out it's got all these cool, weird, like folk and country covers and songs by those two respective country music legends and writers and artists. Well, we did a song that was real soft and really mellow, and a kind of a song that makes you want to cry, called Crying Over You. And Mike Garrett did this amazing harmony vocal on this thing. And you know what? To be honest, without Mike's harmony, it would probably suck vocal-wise. Because you know what happened? Later on, like I say, I learned how to do vocals. But on this record, I hadn't learned how to do that. So I got a shout out to all those guys that played on this record, every one of them. The back cover photo was taken by my good friend Chris Topher on Facebook, a.k.a. Chris Butler. Great guy, great photographer. Known him a long time, man. Chris is a good dude, and have a lot of respect for him. This record, by the way, was recorded, engineered, mixed, and mastered by my brother from another mother, Sean Bryan, from Bellevue, Illinois, Picture Perfect Studio. I worked with him many times over the years. always a friend, still is to this day. He's out there on Facebook land. Hey, Sean. And he recorded this record, and it was mixed in also by not just Sean, but the band too, between December 1994. So, you know, I quit the Skabs in the summer of 94, and by December I was already doing this project. And I was hook, line, and sinker to the outlaw country stuff. And then we finished recording this in February of 1995. And again, this came out on Baloney Shrapnel Records, a label that was out of Arizona, I believe, yeah. And for some weird reason, Jeff, the guy that was a cool guy behind this label, who did many records with Anti-Scene and a lot of good bands, he stopped talking to me right around that time. I still don't know the mystery behind that. And then years later, like in 2012, my buddy Christopher Baggins from the Bloody Mess Rock Circus, he got a message somehow on social media saying, hey, I've got a stack of these records, and I don't know what to do with them. Do you want them? And somehow he got a hold of Christopher, and Christopher said he got a big stack of them in the mail, and he gave them to me. I think Chris kept a couple or whatever, but he gave me a big stack, and now, of course, like many musicians, I've sold most of them through the years or because I've been broke, and I think this is the only copy I have left, actually. But what are you going to do, man? That's the story of Bloody and the Country Trash Punks. It was just a one-time project with some great musicians, something to kind of cut my teeth and get out of the punk rock scene for a little while. But I got to say something, man, before I end this video. Besides, please subscribe if you like the story. But, you know, I've always said this, and so did the late, great Dean Dirt. Punk rock and outlaw country have a thin parallel between them because there's only a couple things that differentiate those two forms of music. And that, my friends, is the beat of the music and the style of dress. Other than that, man, we all have the same values. Yeah, even the whole punk hippie thing, the whole metal punk thing, the whole rock versus punk thing. It's really just a matter of the beat and the style of dress. So, you know, you don't have to buy into a certain culture to like the music. Like, you don't have to be an outlaw to like outlaw country. But I'm the kind of guy that lived like an outlaw for a long time. And except for, I'll tell you what, my friend Lynette, she says, Lynette Fromy, shout out to you. Much love, Red. She said to me one time, don't kid yourself. You're an in-law. So that was a humbling thing to hear, man. So when I speak this stuff, I don't forget the great words of Red. But I did live like an outlaw. I was not living like an in-law. I mean, I have the record to prove it. Although I got to say, I've never had a felony. Never had any weird things, if you know what I mean. Nothing that would come out that would make you go, oh, that's never happened, my friends. But I tell you what, man, I've been a bad boy as far as the alcohol, the other things that were illegal at the time that aren't now, and just doing stupid stuff drunk, but nothing bad. Anyway, my friends, I'm proud to say I'm still alive. I would say, thank God I'm a country boy, but I'm not. I'm a boy from the suburbs. But I hung out in the city all my life and did what I wanted and hung out and still doing what I want. That's why I'm probably close to living in a tent. But anyway, thanks for being here, my friends. I will be back in the next day or two. I've learned not to say I'll be back tomorrow because life has been kind of wacky. And I just never know from one day to the next what's going to be happening. But I'll definitely keep you posted on the rock and roll scene, punk rock and roll, metal, and all stories about myself and my career and my radio experience. Until the next time, please like this video if you would, subscribe, comment, and share. And thanks for listening to me drone on for about 19 minutes. I don't think I could have done it, man. Cheers, man.